Hello, everyone. Hope you're well. It's a beautiful Sunday here in the UK, although I have had to close my blinds. Otherwise, at this time of the morning, it'd be a bit sort of to try and film something like this. In fact, I'm already predicting that YouTube will grab that precise frame of my contorted face and probably suggest that as the thumbnail. So I'll have to keep an eye out for that one. Anyway, hope everyone is well and enjoying what remains of your weekend. So, I wanted to just quickly do a short video today by way of an update. I've had some time away from work this week, and it has frankly been glorious. Not just the weather, but to actually have some time to devote. That sounds a bit bad, but devote to myself has just been really, really nice. And doesn't happen very often. And it's nice to have the house to myself. No offense to anybody else, but it's just been nice to have a bit of space, a bit of time to really kind of put some energy into keeping the momentum going on the book and the larger, the bigger picture stuff. And one of those items is the website. So I've engaged with a very talented guy called Matthew Prodger via Readsy. So please check him out. I'll put a link to his profile in my video at the end. And his portfolio is very impressive and very much sort of drew me to him for kind of the simplistic and effective end results. A lot of the work that he'd done was really pops off the page, really well presented. Lots goes into a lot of detail and gets everything just so. And I appreciate that sort of finer attention to detail. And subsequent messages between myself and Matthew have proven that he's takes his work very seriously, very professional in his approach to everything. Sent me a big list of sort of a to do list of things to do that I needed to get set up and running for this website. So I thought, well, I'm going to do that this week. I'm going to do the first pass of the copy edit, which I had back. I'm going to probably create some content for the website. Matthew mentioned talking about a bit of what he calls a universe page, where I talk about the world in which the book series is set. Then do some character bios for some of the main characters from the book, an author bio, which was an interesting experience, which I'll come to shortly. And send him some media, talk about themes and colours. So it required a lot of concentration, and it took me about 2 or 3 days to tie down some of the content and agree some of the items. And that's notwithstanding the technical challenges of setting up a new website. So I've opted to use a web hosting company called SiteGround on Matthew's recommendation. Seems very straightforward. A lot of my domains, and certainly DuncanWritesFiction.com is hosted with GoDaddy. So there were some challenges around, for the more technically minded, there were some challenges around DNS, which we won't go into, but I think they're all sorted now. I was quite frustrated actually, because at one point I was thinking, how do I do this? And then I thought I was quite disgusted with myself that after 25 years in IT, I kind of couldn't wrap my head around why the SPF record wasn't working properly, and why I needed DMARC, and which IP address I needed to point the A record to, and it was all quite stressful. But then I thought to myself, no, do you know what? You've turned off from work, so perhaps your IT brain has turned off as well. I did finally manage to log on and actually get it done though, so that was good. But yeah, an interesting experience. So that's done. Had to set up a mailing and newsletter system, which I use MailerLite for. Again, seems very, very straightforward. That's going to go via DuncanWritesFiction.info, and the email address will be a contact@DuncanWritesFiction.info, which is where these newsletters will come from, because I figured, well, I've got alternate domains, I may as well use them for other things. And it meant I didn't have to interfere with the email system that I currently have with the .com. So that was set up. I also took the liberty of creating what is effectively a PO box for myself, so I wouldn't have to put my private home address on out there on the internet. I'm sure it probably is on some dark web somewhere. Having been hacked, not because I've been on there. I should just want to clarify that. Um, so yeah, it's been a lot of detail to sort of set up, but it's actually been quite cathartic in a sense. It's allowed me to get to build build my own excitement for what's coming. I suppose it's allowed me to kind of focus. When I'm working 40, 50 hours weeks for my sort of full-time job, you come home in the evening and you're knackered and you don't have time to devote to something like this that it needs. This is why the week was so valuable to me, because I got so much done. So I set about writing the bios for the characters, for Fen, for Hessa, for Eleanor, and for Taliesin. I thought, well, they're probably the four biggies of this book. They're probably the main ones. Yeah, there are some other characters that merit going into some detail, but kind of wanted to set these people up and not necessarily spoil too much. You know, kind of just wanted to say this is their backstory, and in some cases the backstory is a little bit thinner than others, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But I didn't want to just splurge and just give a bit too much information to people. You've got to keep them hooked in some way. You've got to sort of maintain a little bit of a mystique and a bit of an air of mystery around things. So that's been very useful to sort of revisit those characters and think, God, what are their motivations here? What is their background? What is their history? Where are they? Where have they come from? Where, and therefore where are they going? And if you want to find that out, read the book. That kind of thing. So I also then moved on to the sort of universe page, talked a little bit about the Western Peninsula, where the book is set, the different regions, the politics and the power that are in play in that region. Touched a little bit on the Amaron, touched a bit on the council, things like that. So again, quite useful to sort of set that in stone and say, right, this is the beginning. These are the foundations of the place where all of this stuff goes down. So that was quite useful as well. So I think it was enough to sort of galvanize people, and I did 2 or 3 passes to kind of really get the language as concise as possible. And some are probably a bit better than others. I'm not 100% pleased with all of it, but it was it is what it is, and it was just better to start to do something like this. Because the website is duncanwritesfiction.com. It's not the Darkling and the Wasp.com. It's not a website about book one. It's a website about me, and book one is about to come out. So book one has to take center stage for now, but I very much wanted to work with Matthew to create a base of that we can build from, because when book two comes along, that will have to take center stage. So all of those changes in the structure of it and the way it's going to be designed it will lend itself to that, hopefully. So that was quite useful. So once I'd done the universe pages, I sent him all of the images from the cover designs, which every time I look at them, I'm so pleased with it. I'm so pleased with it. It just beautifully encapsulates what I was going for with the book, and that's surely the hallmarks of a great cover. It just says so much with so little, and in that regard, I think it set it up to be the best, the most successful that it can be, in a sense. And now all that remains is for the book to kind of do its work and work its magic, and hope that people are interested in it. So, yeah, so the week's been kind of about that publication and getting it ready for that kind of thing. I spoke to the guy who's finished doing my copy edit. I went through that, accepted 99% of what he'd suggested. A guy called Toby Selwyn. Again, I'll link his website in the description. Very, very talented guy, and I think I posted on social media that moment when you think you've got quite a good command of the English language, and then your copy edit comes back and you realise that you know nothing at all. But that's good, and I will take those lessons and apply them to subsequent books, and I will undoubtedly get better at it. And hopefully by book 5, I'm going to be having these people come out with developmental edits and copy edits that says, yeah, it works, not much that needed doing, here you go, rather than kind of, here's 20 pages of changes which I think needs to be made to this book. If I can at least halve that, then I'm onto something good. I can demonstrate that I've learned something from this process, and that's clearly what it's all about: becoming a better writer. And if I'm a better writer, then hopefully the books are better too. So finish that. He's going to take that away now and do a second pass. So kind of early September-ish to mid-September, should get that back. And then, the manuscript is kind of finished. I'm going to do several read-throughs of it out loud, which I think is vital for you to hear it back. Absolutely vital. Probably do some final continuity checks. Use it to build up a bit of a Bible, or add to the existing Bible that I've got of the book. So it sounds a bit silly, but, one of the items would be Fen is 16 by the end of the book in the flashback chapters. Hessa is a 12-year-old orphan. Eleanor is the tavern owner. Blah, blah, blah. So it's just stuff like that, which I've written book 2, 3, 4, 5, knowing all of that, but because one went through a developmental edit, the ground has shifted underneath the rest of those books. And there could be certain facts. I've already started to rewrite book 2, just do another rewrite of book 2. I've already come across a couple of things where I thought, oh, that's not right anymore. So that's really, really crucial in setting up something that lends itself to that continuity. That because if I won't pick it up necessarily, because it's all perfect in my head, but the reader will pick it up. And they'll probably give me a 1-star review on Amazon for my troubles, which is fine. So it's just those kind of things do definitely matter, because people will pick up on them, and that kind of flow does matter. And there will be mistakes. There's going to be mistakes. It's a big enough, complex enough story with enough characters. Someone somewhere's going to go, oh, in chapter 5 in book 3 on page 23, blah 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 blah, and I'll be like, yeah, fair. That's fair. I'm anticipating all of that kind of thing, and that's fine. It is what it is. That's about the learning process. So first pass was done. The author bio was yeah. How do you write about yourself to other people? It's so rare that you actually do something like that. So rare that you actually have to sit down and tell the story of you, the story of Duncan, to other people. When you meet people for the first time, oh, hi, how are you? I'm Duncan, I do this, I work here, I'm from here. Where are you originally from? Oh, I was born here, blah, blah, blah. But it's conversation, and it just flows, and it's naturally when you're actually face to face with people. But when you're actually forced to actually sit down and write about it, and more than that, you're not just writing about something like that. You're, in a sense, you're selling yourself. You're opening yourself up to people and saying, this is me, this is where I came from, this is what motivates me, in the hopes that at least some of them may either identify with it, buy into it, believe it, any of those things. That's all you kind of need. But it's a market stall, and you're putting yourself out there and saying, bearing a part of yourself, really. I had to choose some cringe photo for the goddamn thing. But anyway, turn on the soft light Instagram filter, and I think we're okay. So, but no, in the end, I was moderately pleased with the author bio. So once it's there, it's done. It's done, I'll move on. I'll get over it. But I suppose not many people are going to pay that much attention to it anyway. So yeah, it was quite an experience. But anyway, so all in all, a very productive week. Just wanted to sort of check in with everybody. Timescale wise, we're still looking at the website's going to be going live around about mid-October, targeting 10th to the 12th of October. Once that's in place, by then I will have the manuscript uploaded and I should have a pre-order copy link available to everybody. So you'll be hearing non-stop about stuff like that. As soon as it's on Amazon and I'm happy that it is the finished article, we will we'll be get going on a pre-order link for everybody. So stay tuned for that. Website done mid-October, and then probably what will happen is 2 relatively frantic, frenzied weeks of promoting it ahead of the launch on the 1st of November. I'm not sure what that promotion is actually going to look like yet because I've never done it before. And this isn't a solicitation for promotional services. I want to just do this first one myself. I want to see what it takes, what's necessary. And of course, even when the book is out, the promotion will never stop. The promotion will carry on until book 2. So I'm never going to stop. And as I think I said in a previous video, I've got visions of me driving around in my car with a box of books in my boot and handing it to random people. There are independent bookstores locally and in the nearest city to me, in Liverpool, which I want to try and get the book into. There are stockists who I need to speak to, who I want to try and convince them to stock my book, and therefore will ultimately then appear in national bookstore chains like Waterstones or Smiths. So there's lots of that still to do, and I kind of want to get the book done and out the way so I can focus on the publicity bit. But I will admit to a certain amount of trepidation at the idea of selling myself to everybody, of selling the book to everybody. It's a self-confidence thing, it's an insecurity thing, and you're never going to get away from that. But you have to hold on to an idea that what you have created is yours and no one can ever take that away from you. And that is what keeps me going. That is the idea that what I've created has come from within me. No one can take it away from me. People can have different opinions. People can hate it. People can love it. That's fine. That is human nature. I understand that. But that will not change what I've done. And no amount of publicity is going to change that either. All you're going to do is convince other people of that. Convince other people to like it as well, or at least try it. Sometimes that will succeed, sometimes it won't. You just have to you have to roll with the punches, I think, on this. So I'm anticipating, I suppose, my own self-confidence levels are anticipating a lukewarm reception to a book from someone that no one's ever heard of before. And anything above that will be a bonus. And I'm all right with that. I'm at peace with all of that. So what will be, will be. And I know friends and family will all say, oh, no, it's great. You should be very proud of yourself. And I am. And as I said in previous videos, to be able to have something in my hand which I thought, I created that, I did that, and that's it. And it's going to go on that shelf. And I can say that that's mine. I can do all of that. That's not a problem. But the rest, we'll see. Anyway, thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you soon.